Admiral Ta could not remember a time without war. He stood on the bridge of his ship, the Celestial Vanguard looking at the stars. His tired eyes reflected the distant explosions of battle. Another day, another defeat. 3 more worlds lost to the enemy. Thousands more of his soldiers dead. "Admiral." "Sir." "The reports from the Cygnus sector," said Commander G, handing him a datapad. Tai took it without a word. The numbers told the same story they always did. Too many dead. Too few ships left. Too little hope. "How many refugees?" he asked. "Over 2 million, sir. We're still counting." Ta nodded slowly. 2 million people running from their burning homes, running from the Orion Imperium and their deadly new weapons. It was the same story on too many worlds now. "Sir, High Command wants to speak with you," Jay added. "They've called an emergency meeting." "Of course they have," Ta said quietly. He turned away from the view screen and its distant battles. "Tell them I'll be there soon." Jai hesitated. "Sir, the soldiers are asking questions. They want to know if there's a plan to win." Ta looked at his second-in-command, this young officer who had never known peace. Ji was born during the war, raised during the war, and would likely die during the war, just like everyone else. "And what do you tell them, Commander?" "That you will find a way, sir. That you always do." Tai almost smiled at that. Almost. "Then let's not make you a liar." The command center of the Andromeda Coalition's central base was buried deep underground. 300 years of war had taught them to hide their leaders well. Ta walked past guards and through security gates. Each step took him deeper into the planet. Each step reminded him how far his people had fallen. Once, they had built beautiful cities that reached to the clouds. Now they lived like insects, burrowed into dirt, hiding from their enemies. "Admiral Ta," General Du nodded as he entered the war room. "We were waiting for you." Around the large table sat the last leaders of the Andromeda Coalition. Once they had represented 50 species from 1,000 worlds. Now less than half remained. The others were conquered, destroyed, or simply gone. "I've seen the reports," Ta said, taking his seat. "The new Orion dreadnoughts are worse than our intelligence suggested. They can destroy a planet's defenses in minutes," said Admiral Moon, an old friend of Ta's. "Nothing we have can stand against them." "And our spies report they are building hundreds more," added General Du. "They will be ready to launch a final attack within the year." The room grew quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. After 3 centuries of fighting, the war might finally end, with their complete defeat. "What about the stellarium mines on Proxima IV?" asked Ta. "If we could secure more of it." "Lost," interrupted Du. "The Orion forces took control of it yesterday." "Stellarium. The reason for all of this death. The precious material that made faster-than-light travel possible. The resource that had started this war 300 years ago, when the Orion Imperium decided they should control it all." "So," Ta looked around the table, "what options do we have left?" Minister Ba, head of science, spoke up. "We've been developing a new shield technology. It might help our ships last longer against their weapons." "How much longer?" asked Ta. "Perhaps minutes instead of seconds." "Not enough. Not nearly enough." "There is one more thing," said General Du carefully. "Our deep space monitoring station detected something unusual. A new ship using technology we've never seen before." Tai raised an eyebrow. "Orion?" "No. It appears to be from an unknown species. The signal originated from a small system at the edge of the Orion Arm, a planet called Earth." "Earth?" Ta had never heard of it. "Are they allies of the Imperium?" "We don't believe so. Our data suggests this may be their first venture into interstellar space. They seem to be newcomers." The room filled with murmurs. A new species achieving space travel during these dangerous times was unusual. Most developing civilizations had been destroyed or conquered long ago. "Show me," Ta commanded. A hologram appeared in the center of the table. It showed a small ship, primitive by their standards, but somehow it had achieved faster than light travel. "How are they powering their jump drives without stellarium?" asked Ta, leaning forward with sudden interest. "That's just it," Minister Ba said, excitement in her voice for the first time in years. "They don't seem to be using stellarium at all. Their technology follows a completely different path." For the first time in a very long time, Tai felt something close to hope stir within him. "Find that ship," he ordered. "Make contact with them. Now." Aboard the Earth vessel Pathfinder *, Captain Yoon checked the readings again. The jump had worked perfectly. They were now over 12 light-years from Earth, the farthest any human had ever traveled. "Status report." He called out to his crew of 20, the first humans to travel between stars. "All systems functioning normally, Captain," replied Officer Sun from her station. "The fusion drive is stable and ready for the return jump whenever we're ready." "Excellent." Yoon smiled. The mission was already a success. They had proven Earth's new fusion drive technology worked for interstellar travel. No one back home had been sure it would. The theories had looked good, but this was the first real test. "Sir," called out Science Officer Han suddenly, "I'm detecting energy readings ahead." "Massive energy readings." "On screen," ordered Yoon. What appeared before them made everyone on the bridge fall silent. In the distance, they could see flashes of light, hundreds of them, like a storm in space. "What are we seeing?" Yoon asked quietly. "I believe." Han worked his instruments. "I believe we're seeing a battle, sir. A space battle." The crew exchanged shocked glances. They had hoped to find signs of other life, of course. That was part of their mission. But no one had expected to find advanced civilizations locked in what appeared to be a massive conflict. "How many ships are we talking about?" asked Yoon. "Thousands, sir, on both sides." Han looked up from his instruments, his face pale. "And the energy weapons they're using, they're beyond anything we've ever imagined." "Keep us at a safe distance," Yoon ordered. "Observe only. Do not attempt contact yet." But it was too late for caution. Their ship's systems lit up with warnings. "Captain, we're being scanned by multiple vessels," called out Sun. "They've detected us." "Evasive maneuvers," Yoon ordered. "Prepare to jump back to Earth if—" He never finished his sentence. A massive ship, larger than any building on Earth, appeared suddenly beside them. It had simply appeared, as if from nowhere. Their sensors hadn't detected its approach. "We're being hailed," said Sun, her voice shaking slightly. Yoon straightened his uniform and nodded. "Put them through." The screen showed a humanoid figure. It looked almost human, but with subtle differences. Its skin had a faint blue tone, and its eyes were larger, darker. "Unknown vessel," the figure spoke in a deep voice. "I am Admiral Ta of the Andromeda Coalition. You have entered an active war zone. Identify yourselves immediately." Yoon swallowed hard but kept his voice steady. "I am Captain Yoon of the Earth vessel Pathfinder *. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration. We had no knowledge of any conflict in this region." The alien admiral studied him carefully. "Earth vessel, your world is not known to us. How did you achieve interstellar travel?" "All faster-than-light technology requires stellarium." "Stellarium?" Yoon looked confused. "We use a gravitational fusion drive. It compresses hydrogen atoms to create a localized space-time distortion. No exotic materials required." For a moment, Admiral Tai simply stared at him. Then he turned and spoke rapidly to someone off-screen. When he turned back, his expression had changed. There was something in his eyes that hadn't been there before, something that looked strangely like hope. "Captain Yoon of Earth, I must speak with you and your leaders immediately. The fate of many worlds may depend on it." Before Yoon could respond, alarms blared across the Pathfinder *. "Captain," shouted Han. "Multiple ships approaching at high speed. Different design from this one. They're charging weapons." On the screen, Admiral Tay's expression turned grim. The Orion Imperium has found you too. Captain, your ship is about to be caught in the middle of the galaxy's deadliest war. The screen split to show dozens of massive warships approaching rapidly, their weapons glowing with power. The Pathfinder *, mankind's greatest achievement, suddenly seemed very small and very fragile. Your ship cannot survive their weapons, Ta said urgently. You must come aboard the Celestial Vanguard * now. We will protect you. Captain Yoon looked at his crew, at these brave explorers who had volunteered to journey into the unknown. Now they had found something beyond their wildest imagination and their darkest nightmares. Admiral, Yoon said firmly, we accept your offer. But I need to understand what we've stumbled into. What is this war about? What is Stellarium? And why do you seem so interested in our fusion drive? I will explain everything, promised Ta. But first, we must survive. The Orion Imperium will destroy your vessel simply to prevent us from speaking with you. As if to emphasize his point, the space around them lit up with weapons fire. The battle was moving closer. Prepare for emergency transport, Yoon ordered his crew. Secure all research data on the fusion drive. As the crew rushed to follow orders, Yoon stared at the raging battle drawing nearer. Humanity had reached the stars at last, only to find them filled with war. But perhaps, just perhaps, Earth's different approach to technology might offer something these ancient, warring civilizations had never considered. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again. Captain Yoon had never imagined his first time on an alien ship would be during a battle. The transport beam had pulled him and his crew from the Pathfinder *, just moments before an enemy blast tore through the space where their ship had been. Now they stood in a large room aboard the Celestial Vanguard *, surrounded by beings who looked almost human, but not quite. Your ship, Admiral Ta said quietly. I am sorry. Yoon nodded, feeling the loss of humanity's first interstellar vessel. My crew is safe. That's what matters. Around him, his 20 crew members stood close together, eyes wide as they took in their surroundings. The first humans to ever meet aliens, to step foot on an alien ship. It should have been a moment of celebration. Instead, they had just narrowly escaped death. Please follow me, said Admiral Ta. We must reach safer space before we can talk properly. The humans followed Ta through corridors filled with crew members who stopped to stare at the newcomers. Yoon noted how similar they all looked to humans. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, but with subtle differences. Blue-tinted skin, larger eyes, slight differences in proportions. Convergent evolution, whispered Science Officer Han beside him. Amazing. They reached a large room with a window showing the battle outside. Massive ships fired weapons that cut through space itself. Explosions bloomed like silent flowers. This is what remains of our war, said Ta, gesturing to the view. 300 years of fighting. Billions dead. Entire species extinct. Over what? Asked Yoon. Stellarium, replied Ta. The only substance in the galaxy that enables faster-than-light travel, or so we thought, until your ship arrived. Commander Jai entered the room and spoke quietly to Ta. The Admiral's face grew darker. The Orion dreadnoughts have changed course, Ta told the humans. They are pursuing us specifically. Because of us? Asked Yoon. Yes, they detected your ship's unusual energy signature. They know something important has happened. Yoon looked at his crew, feeling the weight of responsibility. We never meant to bring trouble to you. No, said Ta with a small smile. You may have brought us something else entirely. Hope. The Celestial Vanguard * jumped to faster than light speed, leaving the battle behind. Yoon and his senior officers followed Ta to a meeting room where other Andromedan leaders waited. Show us, demanded General Du without greeting. Show us this technology that doesn't need stellarium. Wait, said Yoon firmly. Before we share anything, We need to understand this conflict. We need to know who you are fighting and why." The Andromedans exchanged glances. Then Ta nodded. "Fair enough." A hologram appeared in the center of the table. It showed a spinning, glowing blue crystal. "This is stellarium," explained Minister Ba. "For thousands of years, it has been the only known way to achieve faster-than-light travel. It creates a field that allows ships to slip between normal space. It is rare," added General Du, "found on only a few worlds in the galaxy." 300 years ago, continued Ta, the Orion Imperium decided they should control all stellarium in the galaxy. They attacked without warning, destroying many worlds and taking over the stellarium mines. "We formed the Andromeda Coalition to fight back," said Minister Ba. 50 species joined together to stop the Orion Imperium from controlling all faster-than-light travel. "But we are losing," Ta said simply. "Their new dreadnoughts are too powerful. Within a year, they will control all stellarium. And then, all travel between stars stops for everyone except them." Yoon and his officers listened in silence. It was hard to imagine a war lasting for 300 years. Hard to imagine billions of deaths. "And now," said Ta, leaning forward, "your people have found another way to travel between stars. A way that doesn't need stellarium at all." "Our fusion drive," said Chief Engineer Park. "It uses hydrogen atoms, compressed to create a temporary fold in spacetime. No rare materials needed." The Andromedans stared at Park, with expressions ranging from disbelief to hope. "Impossible," whispered one. "Every species in the galaxy has tried to find alternatives to stellarium. None have succeeded." "Maybe," said Science Officer Han, "it's because we came at the problem differently. We developed in isolation, without knowing stellarium existed." Tai studied the humans carefully. This could change everything. If ships could travel without stellarium. A loud alarm cut him off. Commander G rushed into the room. "Admiral, 3 Orion dreadnoughts have tracked us. They will be within firing range in minutes." The room erupted in activity. Todd turned to Yoon. "We have to move you somewhere safer, if the Orion forces capture you and learn of this technology." "Let us help," said Yoon. "Our fusion drive knowledge is stored in our personal data units. Perhaps your engineers and ours could work together. Find a way to adapt it to your ships." Ta hesitated, then nodded. "It's worth trying, though it would take months to retrofit our fleet." "We don't need to retrofit the entire fleet," said Park suddenly. "We just need to modify your communication systems. If the fusion drive principles were applied there, you could send messages without using stellarium relays. The Orion forces jam all our stellarium-based communications during battles," said Jai. "If we could communicate without stellarium, it would give us a tactical advantage," finished Ta. "How quickly could this be done?" "Hours, not days," said Park. "The principles are simple once you understand them." Ta made a quick decision. "Do it. Commander G will take you to our communications center." While the engineers worked, Yoon remained with Ta on the bridge. The Orion dreadnoughts were closing in fast. "We cannot outrun them," said Ta grimly. "And we cannot fight 3 dreadnoughts alone." "Can we call for help?" asked Yoon. "Not with conventional systems. The Orion ships are jamming all stellarium-based communications. That's why your engineer's idea is so important. If it works, it will work," Yoon said with confidence. "Park is the best engineer on Earth." Minutes ticked by. On the view screen, the massive Orion ships grew larger. They were unlike anything Yoon had ever seen. Black, angular vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Who are they?" Yoon asked, looking at the enemy ships. "The Orion people. What do they want beyond controlling stellarium?" "Power," said Ta simply. "Their society is built on conquest. Their leader, Warlord Kang, believes only the strong deserve to travel among stars." A crew member approached Ta. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the lead Orion ship." "Put it through," Tai ordered. The screen changed to show a stern face. The being looked different from the Andromedans, harder, with ridged features and amber eyes. "Admiral Ta," the figure said coldly, "surrender your vessel and the alien visitors you rescued. Do this, and your crew may live as prisoners. Refuse, and we will destroy you." "Warlord Kang," Ta acknowledged, "I'm surprised you're leading this attack personally. 3 dreadnoughts to capture 1 damaged cruiser seems excessive." "Do not play games," said Kang. "Our sensors detected the unusual energy signature of the alien vessel. They have technology we want. Surrender them now." Ta glanced at Yoon, then back at the screen. "We need more time to consider your generous offer, Warlord." "You have 10 minutes, Kang said, and the screen went dark. "We don't have 10 minutes, Ta said quietly. "They'll attack before then." Just then, Commander G rushed onto the bridge. "Admiral, the human engineers have done it. They've adapted our secondary communications array to work on their fusion principles." "Can we contact the fleet?" Tai asked urgently. "Yes, sir. The Orion jamming has no effect on it." For the first time, Yoon saw Ta smile, really smile. "Send a message to Admiral Moon's battle group. Tell them our exact coordinates and that we have high-value allies aboard." Jai hurried to follow the order. Yoon looked at Ta. "Will they arrive in time?" "We'll see," said Ta. "But this is already a victory. For 300 years, the Orion forces have blocked our communications during battles. Not anymore." The minutes passed slowly. The enemy ships grew larger on the screen. Weapon systems began to glow on their hulls. "Admiral," reported a crew member, "the lead dreadnought is powering up its main cannon." "Evasive maneuvers," ordered Ta. "All power to shields." The Celestial Vanguard shuddered as it changed course rapidly. But the dreadnoughts followed, staying in perfect formation. They're firing. A massive energy beam shot from the lead ship, barely missing the Vanguard as it swerved. But the other dreadnoughts were adjusting their aim. "We can't avoid all 3, said Jig grimly. Tai stood tall. "Continue evasive maneuvers. We just need to last a little longer." Another blast rocked the ship. Alarms blared throughout the bridge. "Shields down to 40%, reported a crew member. "Admiral Moon's battle group?" Tai asked. "No response yet, sir." The Orion ships moved closer, like predators surrounding wounded prey. Warlord Kang appeared on the screen again. "Your time is up, Admiral Ta. I will take those aliens from the wreckage of your ship." Yoon stepped forward, into view of the transmission. "I am Captain Yoon of Earth. If it's us you want, perhaps we can discuss terms that don't involve destroying this ship." Kang studied the human with interest. "So, you are the ones who traveled here without stellarium. Impressive. You would be valuable allies to the Imperium." "We're not interested in taking sides in your war," said Yoon carefully. "We came as explorers." "Exploration is a luxury," sneered Kang. "This galaxy belongs to the strong. Join us, Captain, and your people will have a place in our new order. Refuse, and share the fate of Admiral Tay's doomed vessel." Before Yoon could answer, a crew member called out, multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light speed. "It's Admiral Moon's battle group." The screen split to show 20 Andromedan warships appearing behind the Orion dreadnoughts. They immediately opened fire, catching the enemy ships by surprise. Kang's face twisted with rage. "Impossible. How did they find you?" "Our jamming field is active." "It seems," said Ta with satisfaction, "that the people of Earth have shown us there's more than one way to send a message." The battle erupted around them. The Orion dreadnoughts, powerful as they were now caught between the Celestial Vanguard and Admiral Moon's ships. "All vessels, concentrate fire on the center dreadnought," Tai ordered through the new communication system. The combined firepower of the Andromedan ships tore through the shields of the target. Explosions rippled across its surface. On the screen, Warlord Kang's image flickered. "This isn't over, Ta. The humans have only delayed your defeat, not prevented it." His transmission cut off as his dreadnought turned to retreat. The other two followed, jumping to faster-than-light speed before the Andromedans could stop them. "They're gone," said Jai in disbelief. "We actually drove them off." The bridge erupted in cheers. Crew members embraced each other, some with tears in their eyes. Yoon realized this might be their first victory in a very long time. Admiral Tai turned to the human captain. "You and your people have done something remarkable today, not just with your technology, but by showing us that there are still new ideas to be found, even after centuries of war." "This is just the beginning," said Yoon. "If your people and mine work together, who knows what else we might discover?" Ta nodded thoughtfully. "The war isn't over. Warlord Kang will return with more ships, more weapons, but for the first time in a very long time, I believe we might have a chance." Through the view screen, Yoon watched as Admiral Moon's ships moved into protective formation around the Vanguard *. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage in the middle of the deadliest war anyone had ever known. But perhaps they had also brought something these ancient civilizations needed most: a new perspective, a different way of thinking, a fresh hope. And sometimes, that was enough to change everything. 2 weeks had passed since the battle with Warlord Kang's dreadnoughts. The Celestial Vanguard had reached the hidden headquarters of the Andromeda Coalition, a massive space station concealed within a dense nebula. Captain Yoon stood beside Admiral Ta in a large meeting hall. Around them sat representatives from the 24 remaining species of the Coalition. All eyes were on the humans. "These are our visitors from Earth," Admiral Ta announced. "Thanks to their technology, we achieved our first major victory against the Orion forces in nearly 50 years." Murmurs filled the room. Some voices sounded hopeful, others suspicious. "How do we know they aren't Orion spies?" called out one representative, a tall being with gray skin. "Perhaps this is all a trick to learn our defenses." "I understand your concerns," said Tai calmly. "But the fact remains that their fusion drive technology works without stellarium. This is something the Orion Imperium would never share, even as a trick." "Show us," demanded another representative. "Prove that this technology is real." Yoon nodded to Chief Engineer Park, who stepped forward with a small device in his hands. He placed it on the center table. "This is a miniature version of our fusion drive," Park explained in simple terms. "It creates energy by pressing hydrogen atoms together very tightly, then uses that energy to bend space slightly." He activated the device. A small blue field appeared above it, shimmering like water. "This field can send objects through space faster than light," continued Park. "We use common hydrogen as fuel, the most abundant element in the universe." The representatives leaned forward, their eyes wide. One reached out as if to touch the field, then pulled back. "If this works as you claim," said an older representative slowly, "it would change everything. The Orion Imperium's control of stellarium would no longer matter." "Exactly," said Admiral Ta. "Which is why we've called this emergency council. We need to make decisions quickly, before the Imperium learns the full potential of this technology." The council debated for hours. Yoon and his crew watched as the alien leaders argued among themselves. Some wanted to immediately retrofit their ships with the new drive. Others wanted to use the technology as a bargaining chip to end the war. A few even suggested using it to build a superweapon. Finally, Admiral Tai raised his hand for silence. "We're missing something important here," he said. "The humans didn't just bring us new technology. They brought us a new way of thinking. For 3 centuries, we've been fighting over stellarium, believing it was the only way to travel between stars. But what if there are other things we've been wrong about? What if there are other solutions we've never considered?" The room grew quiet as the representatives considered his words. "Captain Yoon," Ta turned to the human. "Tell us, how would your people approach this situation?" Yoon stepped forward. He had been thinking about this question for days. "On Earth, we have a saying: when you can't win the game, change the rules. For centuries, you've been playing by the Orion Imperium's rules, fighting over stellarium, trying to control it. But what if stellarium isn't the only thing worth fighting for anymore? Go on, urged Ta. What if, instead of fighting to control stellarium, we offered an alternative to everyone? What if we shared the fusion drive technology with all species in the galaxy, even those currently under Orion control? Shocked voices filled the room. Share our advantage, protested one representative. That's madness. Hear him out, said Ta firmly. If everyone had access to faster-than-light travel without needing stellarium, Yoon continued, the Orion Imperium would lose their main source of power. Why would planets remain under their control if they no longer needed stellarium to travel? The representatives looked at each other, considering this idea. It could work, said Minister Ba slowly. Many worlds only support the Imperium because they need access to stellarium. Without that need, the Imperium would collapse from within, finished Admiral Moon. But implementing something like this would take years, objected another representative. We don't have years. The new Orion dreadnoughts will be ready within months. Then we need a more immediate solution as well, said Yoon. Something to buy us time. Science Officer Han stepped forward. We've been working with your scientists on another application of our fusion technology. We believe we can create a shield that the Orion weapons can't penetrate. This announcement caused even more excitement. Admiral Ta called for order. Let's be clear about what we're proposing, he said. A short-term plan to defend against the Orion dreadnoughts, and a long-term plan to make stellarium irrelevant by sharing the fusion drive technology throughout the galaxy. The Orion leadership will never accept this, warned one representative. Warlord Kang would rather destroy the galaxy than share power. Then perhaps we need to speak directly to the people under his rule, suggested Yoon. If they learn there's an alternative to stellarium. Ta nodded slowly. A dangerous plan. But I agree. It's our best hope for lasting peace. The council voted. The plan was approved. 1 month later, a neutral space station called Concordia orbited an uninhabited planet at the edge of Orion territory. It was here that representatives from both sides had occasionally met for failed peace talks over the centuries. Captain Yoon stood beside Admiral Tai, watching as the Orion delegation arrived. At their head walked Warlord Kang, tall and imposing, his amber eyes scanning the room with suspicion. Admiral Tai, Kang said coldly, I was surprised to receive your invitation. The Andromeda Coalition usually avoids diplomatic meetings when they are losing. Perhaps we have something new to discuss, replied Tai, gesturing to the meeting table. The delegation sat facing each other, Kang's eyes fixed on Yoon. The human, he said. I've been looking forward to meeting you properly. Your technology is interesting. That's why we're here, said Yoon calmly, to discuss that technology and how it might benefit everyone in this galaxy. Kang laughed harshly. Benefit everyone. There is only one benefit that matters: victory. Your fusion drive will give the Imperium total control of space travel, without the need for stellarium mining operations, which are expensive to maintain. That's one possibility, agreed Yoon. But there's another. What if everyone had access to this technology? Kang's expression darkened. Sharing. Is that your proposal? How disappointingly naive. Tai leaned forward. It's not naivety, Warlord. It's strategy. This war has gone on for 300 years. Billions dead on both sides. Entire civilizations extinct. And for what? Control of stellarium that might soon be irrelevant. Irrelevant. Kang's voice was dangerous. Stellarium has been the foundation of galactic civilization for millennia. The Imperium controls most of it. That gives us power. Power over a resource that no one may need anymore, said Yoon. Is that worth continuing this war? Kang stood suddenly, his hands pressing against the table. You understand nothing, human. This war isn't just about stellarium. It's about order. The strong must rule. The weak must follow. That is the natural law of the universe. Perhaps on your worlds, replied Yoon. On Earth, we've found cooperation often achieves more than dominance. Pretty words, sneered Kang. But meaningless. Your fusion drive technology will belong to the Imperium, one way or another. We have already been developing countermeasures against your new shields and communication systems. Tai and Yun exchanged glances. This confirmed their suspicions. The Orion forces had spies within the coalition. Then this meeting is a waste of time, said Tai, rising to his feet. We came hoping for peace. Peace. Kang laughed again. Peace is what follows victory, Admiral. Nothing else. As the Orion delegation turned to leave, Yun called out, Warlord Kang, before you go, there's something you should know. Kang paused, looking back. And what is that, human? While we've been talking, 50,000 communication devices have been dropped into the atmospheres of worlds across Orion space. Each one contains complete plans for building fusion drives, along with a message. No one needs to control Stellarium anymore. No one needs to fight this war anymore. Kang's face contorted with rage. You're lying. Admiral Ta shook his head. The devices were designed by our human allies. They're too small for your defense systems to detect. By now, people throughout your empire are learning there's an alternative to your rule. You've signed your death warrant, hissed Kang. All of you. The Imperium will crush the coalition once and for all. That's always been your answer, said Tai sadly. More violence, more death. But this time, it won't work. The truth is spreading, and you can't stop it. Kang stormed out, his delegation hurrying after him. Well, said Yun quietly, that went about as expected. Yes, agreed Ta. Now we prepare for his response. It will be severe. They didn't have to wait long. 3 days later, the largest Orion fleet ever assembled appeared at the edge of coalition space. 500 warships, including 50 of the new dreadnoughts. Aboard the Celestial Vanguard Admiral Ta studied the tactical display with grim determination. They've committed almost their entire fleet, he said to Admiral Moon and Captain Yun. Kang is desperate to end this quickly, before the fusion drive information spreads further. Our new shields are ready, reported Commander Jie. All ships have been equipped with the human communication systems as well. And the fusion drive retrofits? Asked Ta. 27 ships so far, said Minister Ba. Not enough, but it's a start. Yun looked at the massive enemy fleet on the display. We're still outnumbered 3-1. Yes, admitted Ta. But for the first time in this war, our technology might be superior to theirs. And we have another advantage they don't know about yet. What's that? Asked Yun. Tai smiled slightly. Warlord Kang believes he's facing a desperate, dying coalition. He doesn't realize that 17 worlds in his own territory have already risen in revolt, inspired by the fusion drive information we spread. Reports were coming in from across Orion space. Stellarium mining colonies had stopped production. Transport ships had refused to deliver supplies to Imperium bases, and several Orion warships had even defected, their crews no longer willing to fight for Kang's vision of the galaxy. It's working, said Admiral Moon in wonder. The plan is actually working. But not quickly enough, Ta cautioned. Kang will still attack with everything he has. And if he wins this battle, he can crush the rebellions one by one. Then we don't let him win, said Yun simply. The human crew had been integrated into the coalition forces. Engineer Park worked with the SHIELD teams. Science Officer Han coordinated with the weapons specialists. And Captain Yun stood on the bridge of the Celestial Vanguard beside Admiral Tai as the coalition fleet formed its battle lines. All ships report ready, said Commander Jie. Open a channel to the fleet, ordered Ta. When the connection was established, he spoke clearly and calmly. This is Admiral Ta. For 300 years, we have fought to survive against an enemy that sought to control all access to the stars. Today, that changes. Today, we fight not just for our survival, but for a new beginning. A galaxy where no one controls who can travel among the stars. A galaxy where cooperation replaces domination. He paused, then continued. The humans of Earth have shown us there is another way. They've reminded us that when old solutions fail, we must find new ones. Stand firm. Fight well. Make this day the beginning of peace, not just another day of war. The channel closed. Ta looked at Yoon. Your people have changed everything, he said quietly. Whatever happens today, remember that. Yoon nodded, watching as the massive Orion fleet moved toward them, weapons charged and ready. It's strange, he said. We left Earth hoping to find new worlds, new knowledge. Instead, we found the oldest story in our history, a war over resources. But maybe we also found something else. What's that? Asked Ta. A chance to write a different ending to that story. The space between the fleets grew smaller. The battle was about to begin. All ships, ordered Ta, prepare to engage. New shield systems at maximum power. The first Orion dreadnoughts fired their main weapons. Massive energy beams streaked toward the coalition ships. And the greatest battle of the galaxy's deadliest war began. The battle unfolded like nothing Captain Yoon had ever imagined. Hundreds of ships clashed in the darkness of space, energy weapons cutting bright lines between the stars. The Orion fleet, massive and powerful, pressed forward with unstoppable force. At their center, Warlord Kang's command ship, a dreadnought 3 times larger than any other, led the attack. On the bridge of the Celestial Vanguard Admiral Ta watched the tactical displays with careful eyes. First wave of dreadnoughts approaching firing range, reported Commander Ji. They're targeting our center line. Hold position, ordered Ta. Let them come to us. Yoon stood nearby, watching the battle unfold. Earth's wars had been fought with missiles and drones, nothing like this clash of civilizations among the stars. The first Orion dreadnoughts fired their main weapons. Massive energy beams shot toward the coalition ships. Everyone on the bridge tensed, waiting. The beams struck the lead coalition vessels and dissipated against their new shields. Shields holding at 85%, called out a crew member, surprise in her voice. A cheer went up across the bridge. The human-designed shields were working better than anyone had dared hope. All ships, return fire, ordered Ta. The coalition fleet unleashed its weapons. Most did little damage against the heavy Orion ships, but it was enough to slow their advance. We can hold them off, said Admiral Moon over the communication system. But for how long? Long enough, Tae replied. Remember the plan. The plan had been Yoon's idea, bold and dangerous. While the coalition fleet engaged the Orion forces directly, 20 smaller ships equipped with the new fusion drives would slip behind enemy lines. Their mission: reach the heart of Orion territory and broadcast the truth about the fusion technology to every world in the Imperium. Status of our strike team? Tai asked. They've successfully jumped past the Orion fleet, reported Ji. No pursuit detected yet. Ta nodded in satisfaction. Now we just need to keep Warlord Kang occupied. As if on cue, a transmission cut through their communications. Kang's stern face appeared on the main screen. Admiral Tai, he said coldly, your new shields are impressive. The human technology is everything we hoped, but they will not save you. They don't need to save us, replied Ta calmly. They only need to show everyone a better way exists. Kang's eyes narrowed. You still believe you can turn my people against me? The Orion Imperium has stood for 1,000 years. It will not fall because of some human trick. It's not a trick, said Yoon, stepping into view. It's a choice between war and peace, between control and freedom. Freedom, spat Kang. A weak concept from a young species. The galaxy needs order, not freedom. Then why are 17 of your worlds already in revolt? Asked Ta. Why have 6 of your warships defected to our side in just the past 3 days? For a moment, Kang's confident expression faltered. Temporary confusion. Once I crush your fleet, the rebellions will end. You can't crush an idea. said Yoon. And that's what you're really fighting now. Kang cut the transmission abruptly. He's worried, said Ta with satisfaction. And he should be. The battle continued with increasing intensity. The Orion fleet surrounded the coalition ships, firing constantly. The new shields held, but they were weakening with each hit. Shields down to 60% across the fleet, reported Jay. We can't take this bombardment forever. We don't need forever, said Ta. Just a few more hours. Those hours passed slowly. The coalition fleet fought bravely, their ships forming a tight defensive circle. But the overwhelming power of the Orion forces was taking its toll. Admiral, called Ji urgently, 3 ships have lost shields completely. They're taking heavy damage. Order them to fall back to the second line. Ta commanded. All other ships adjust formation to cover their retreat. Another transmission came through, this time from Science Officer Han, who was with the strike team. Captain Yoon, Admiral Tai, he said, his image flickering with static. We've reached the central broadcast hub. We're uploading the fusion drive data and message to all Orion worlds now. Well done, said Ta. How long until complete? 20 minutes, replied Han. But we've been detected. Orion security forces are trying to stop the broadcast. Hold your position as long as possible, Yoon told his officer. Remember, even a partial broadcast could make the difference. As the transmission ended, a massive explosion rocked the Celestial Vanguard *. Warning alarms blared across the bridge. Direct hit, shouted Jai. Shields down to 20%. On the tactical display, Yoon could see that Warlord Kang's command ship had broken through their lines, targeting the Vanguard * specifically. He knows what we're doing, said Ta grimly. He's trying to stop us before the broadcast is complete. Another hit shook the ship. Systems failed across the bridge, consoles sparking with damage. Shields failing, reported a crew member. One more direct hit and all power to engines, ordered Ta. Evasive maneuvers. The Vanguard * twisted away from the next attack, but only barely. The massive Orion dreadnought pursued relentlessly. We can't outrun him, said Jai. His ship is too fast, too powerful. Tay's expression hardened. Then we stand and fight. The Vanguard * turned to face Kang's dreadnought directly. It was like a small bird facing a giant predator. All remaining weapons, target their main cannon, Tide ordered. The coalition ship fired everything it had. Most shots dissipated against the dreadnought's powerful shields, but a few found weak points. Small explosions erupted across the enemy vessel's hull. We've damaged their main weapon, reported Ji. But their secondary systems are still operational. Another hit rocked the Vanguard *. The bridge lights flickered and died, replaced by dim emergency lighting. Main power lost, said Jai. Weapons offline. Engines at minimal capacity. Ta stood in the center of his damaged bridge, still calm despite their desperate situation. Prepare boarding defenses, he ordered. If Kang wants this ship, he'll have to take it deck by deck. Yoon stepped forward. Admiral, there's another option. The Vanguard * has been partially retrofitted with our fusion drive system. It's not complete, but it might be enough for one short jump. To where? Asked Ta. We're surrounded. Not away, said Yoon quietly. Toward. Directly at Kang's ship. A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Everyone understood what Yoon was suggesting. A collision, said Ta slowly. At faster than light speed. The energy release would be substantial, Yoon confirmed. Enough to destroy both ships completely. Ta looked around at his crew, then back at the tactical display showing Kang's massive dreadnought moving in for the kill. How many people would need to remain aboard to initiate this jump? He asked. Just one, said Yoon. To activate the drive manually. Then I'll do it, Ta decided immediately. The rest of you will evacuate in the escape pods. No, said Yoon firmly. This was my idea. My technology. It should be me. Captain. Ta began to protest. My ship was destroyed when we first arrived here, interrupted Yun. I never got to thank you properly for saving my crew. Let me do this. Before Tai could argue further, another transmission came through. It was Han again, his face now streaked with blood from some injury. Broadcast complete. He shouted over the sound of weapons fire. All data successfully transmitted to every world in the Imperium. Status of your team? Asked Yun urgently. We've taken heavy casualties, admitted Han. But we're fighting our way back to the ship. We'll make it. As the transmission ended, Ta looked at Yun with new resolve. The mission succeeded, he said. There's no need for a suicide run now. There is if we want to survive this battle, countered Yun. Kang won't stop. He'll destroy every coalition ship here to make an example of us. As if to emphasize his point, another Orion barrage struck the Vanguard *, sending crew members tumbling across the bridge. Hull breach on decks 5 through 8, reported J. We're losing atmospheric containment. Ta made his decision. Begin evacuation. All personnel to escape pods. Admiral. J began to protest. That's an order, Commander, said Ta firmly. Captain Yun, and I will handle the fusion drive. As the bridge crew reluctantly departed, Tai turned to Yun. I'm not letting you do this alone, Captain. Your people have given us hope. Now it's our turn to ensure that hope has a future. Together, they made their way through the damaged ship to the engineering section, where the fusion drive was installed. Around them, crew members rushed to escape pods as the ship continued to take hits. In engineering, they found Chief Engineer Park still working frantically on the fusion drive systems. Park, said Yun in surprise, you should be evacuating. Not without finishing this, replied Park stubbornly. The drive is almost ready for a controlled jump. Not a jump, Yun told him. A collision. We're going to take out Kang's ship. Park stared at his captain. Sir, that would. I know what it would do, interrupted Yun. Now get to an escape pod. That's an order. Reluctantly, Park left, leaving Tai and Yun alone with the fusion drive. How do we aim this thing? Asked Ta, looking at the unfamiliar controls. We don't need to, said Yun, working quickly at the main console. Kang is coming straight for us. We just need to activate the drive when he gets close enough. Through a nearby viewport, they could see the massive shape of Kang's dreadnought growing larger. Its weapons were charging for what would surely be a killing blow. Ready, said Yun, his hand hovering over the activation switch. Wait, said Ta suddenly. Something's happening. Outside, new ships were appearing all around Kang's dreadnought. Dozens of them, then hundreds. But they weren't coalition vessels. Those are Orion ships, said Ta in disbelief. But they're attacking Kang. A transmission broke through their damaged communication system. The face that appeared wasn't Kang's, but another Orion officer. This is General J of the Free Orion Fleet, said the officer. Admiral Ta, do you receive me? We receive you, replied Ta, shocked. What is the meaning of this? The broadcast worked, said General J. Worlds across the Imperium have risen against Warlord Kang. Half the fleet has declared for the rebellion. We're here to end his rule, and this war. Tai and Yun watched in amazement as the rebel Orion ships surrounded Kang's dreadnought, firing continuously. The massive vessel fought back fiercely, but it was outnumbered. Stand down your suicide run. Admiral, said General J. This is our fight now. Yun pulled his hand back from the activation switch. It seems the idea spread faster than we expected. Ideas are like that, said Ta, a smile slowly forming on his weathered face. Especially good ones. They watched as Kang's mighty dreadnought, symbol of the Imperium's power for decades, was engulfed in explosions. The ship that had terrorized the galaxy began to break apart. A final transmission came through. Warlord Kang, his bridge in flames around him. You think this ends the war? He snarled. The Imperium has stood for 1,000 years. It will rise again. No, said General J simply. It won't. Not as it was. The people have chosen a different path. As Kane's image faded, the dreadnought exploded in a brilliant flash of light. 300 years of war ended not with a whimper, but with a bang. 6 months later, Captain Yoon stood on the observation deck of a new station. Named Unity *, it orbited a star at the exact midpoint between Coalition and former Imperium space. Beside him stood Admiral Tai and General Je, once enemies, now working together to build a new galactic society. The last of the fusion drive blueprints have been distributed, reported Minister Ba, joining them at the viewport. Every world in known space now has the technology. And the stellarium mines? Asked Ta. Being converted to research centers, replied Je. Now that stellarium is no longer essential for travel, scientists are exploring its other properties. Yoon looked out at the stars. In the distance, he could see ships coming and going, some Andromedan, some Oran, and one very special vessel. The New Pathfinder Earth's newest and largest starship, was approaching the station. It carried diplomats, scientists, and settlers, humanity's first official delegation to the wider galaxy. Your people are arriving just in time for the signing ceremony, noted Ta. They wouldn't miss it, said Yoon with a smile. The ceremony was simple but profound. Representatives from over 200 worlds gathered in the station's Great Hall to sign the Unity Accords. The document established free travel throughout the galaxy, open sharing of technology, and a council where all species would have equal voice. As Admiral Ta, General Je, and representatives from Earth signed the document, applause filled the hall. 300 years of war had ended, and a new era had begun. Later, as the celebrations continued, Yoon found a quiet moment with Admiral Ta. Did you ever imagine it would end like this? Asked Yoon. When we first arrived in our little ship. Ta shook his head. Never. For centuries, we fought over who would control the stars. It never occurred to anyone that the answer might be everyone. It's strange, said Yoon thoughtfully. We left Earth hoping to discover new worlds, new technologies. Instead, we found an ancient war, but perhaps what we really discovered was something else entirely. What's that? Asked Ta. That sometimes the most powerful technology isn't a weapon or a drive system. It's a new idea. And the most important discoveries don't come from finding new resources, but from seeing old problems in new ways. Ta smiled. A lesson it took my people 300 years and billions of lives to learn. The important thing is that you did learn it, said Yoon. And now the galaxy can move forward together. Through the viewport, they could see ships from dozens of worlds moving peacefully through space. Some still used stellarium drives, others the new fusion technology. But all traveled freely, no longer bound by the limitations of resources or the divisions of war. The deadliest war in galactic history, said Ta quietly, ended not by a final battle, but by a new beginning. And humanity's arrival changed it all, added Yoon with a smile. In the distance, Earth's sun was just visible, a tiny point of light among countless others, one small world that had stumbled onto the galactic stage at exactly the right moment, bringing exactly what was needed, a different perspective. Sometimes, that was all it took to change everything.